The time zones are really weird for me. It's like almost 1 a.m. here, and I have a flight at I have to leave to get a flight at 5, but it's actually only like 9:10 p.m. Vancouver time. I should have probably booked a later flight. Anyway, meanwhile, preparing for Vegas, really presenting at the Copperfield Mansion at around 3:40 p.m. Uh, with and around the topic of Bitcoin finance, Bitcoin finance, RWA, TradFi. And really, what I'm hoping to share is a lot of, I think, my learnings and inquisitions and conversations over the past few months, as well as a bit on what we're trying to do and achieve and how we can drive the ecosystem forward. And what really stood out for me, actually, something that came up yesterday as well, is what's the Bitcoin end game? Because it's like you're sharing with people who may be new to Bitcoin or see Bitcoin only as an investment and are removed from like the ethos of it or like just haven't spent the time to get into it. And I think it's a fair question to be like, what's the end game with Bitcoin? And like a customer of mine called me up the other day and was like, oh, if you could do Aave on Bitcoin L1, that's what I want. And then we got to talking about, okay, what do you actually want? What is your exit strategy? What are you looking to borrow for? And he goes on to fully tell me about like the buy, borrow, die idea. Now, most people actually, I'm surprised most people don't actually recognize that term, buy, borrow, die, but he brought it up. He's like, I want to die with my Bitcoin. Like, I want to, I want to borrow against it, spend what I need to spend on whatever I need to or want to. And then at the end of whatever I have, I just want to die with it and leave that as a contribution to the world and remove it from the supply. And that really got me thinking. I was like, I don't think I'm there yet. I would definitely want to pass it on to my children and, family and stuff, or just or a charitable organization of sorts. And but he does see that as charity. Like that's his charity to the community. And he doesn't have kids that he wants to transfer it to. And people ask about like what the end game is as well for like if we're pitching Bitcoin today. It's like, do we just want people to buy Bitcoin? Do we want them to do we want to charge people an extra fee for buying Bitcoin, make a business on it? And it's like, well, there is obviously that element, and it's like number go up is powerful, but like these are like these are people like that hold Bitcoin through the bear market. They don't really care about the price. And I think the end game for many of us Bitcoiners as well, we actually want to live and create a world where you are doing everything denominated in Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is like the third largest economy in the world. Really, that's the power of what this money protocol is and what it is, what we can actually achieve with it. And every day, I think more and more people fall in love is a strong word, but more and more people are inspired by that vision of what it can and could be. So that takes me to like actually Liquidium. Liquidium's been a really cool project in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and specifically they're pioneering things like offering a revenue share on their Liquidium token, right? Most tokens, most of them are still meme coins out there as runes, but Liquidium really taking that opportunity to offer revenue share transforms it to another level and really creates the opportunity for individuals to be more actively involved in ways to earn Bitcoin at a discount. And if you're earning a salary or you're making some income some way and you're putting into Bitcoin, like that's the best thing you should be doing. Like I could say, at least towards this world. But like, what about that Bitcoin? That Bitcoin is just sitting around. If the end game is a Bitcoin denominated world where everyone's really living and working on sound money, that Bitcoin needs to be earning in some way. Like you can save it. Saving is good. I think that's a topic for another day about like how the Keynesian economics sees savings versus Austrian economics sees savings. But You can save that Bitcoin. You can save it forever. You can save it till you die and have it as a contribution to humanity. That's amazing. And being able to invest a portion of that back into the ecosystem and really find an opportunity to generate even more Bitcoin from your investments, like taking on that risk being in business, it's still a very small fraction of the population that actively does that, that will borrow against their Bitcoin to go and do business and then come back, pay it off. Because it's like, the cost of borrowing against Bitcoin is still rather high. It's moving downwards, it's going to go down, and it's going to be the cheapest. Like, I've been insisting on this for a while, that Bitcoin will be the cheapest form of capital, the cheapest. It will reduce cost of borrowing for businesses everywhere. Now, how do we accelerate that? How do we really drive that? So I'm looking at my own business, like, from before, the car finance business, car leasing, and it's like, well, that's a business. Like, how do I? But I should, and this is what my investors tell me too. But like, we should have had Bitcoin in that business from a very early stage. It would have been so much better off. But the thing is, I did have Bitcoin, and I sold it. I sold Bitcoin to save the business, and it's like, I did not save the business. And I guess what we're look and I guess if I were to, take that experience and move it forward, it's like, what you really want is, you want to have people invest in your Bitcoin, sorry, invest in your business with Bitcoin, but in a way where you're not allowed to, or you're not able to sell it even. Like, they invest, they get maybe a token for it, and you can't sell that Bitcoin. You have to, like, borrow against it. Aave has the best rates. Now, Aave's not on Bitcoin, and there's like a whole conversation there too. But if you're borrowing at 5% on Aave, you're getting a really cheap rate, and you can invest it. You can lease cars out, and you're earning like 10, 15%, or maybe you have a barbershop and you're earning even more. Businesses have very different profit rates and internal rate of returns. But specifically, if you invested that Bitcoin, in the sense that you are participating in the equity in the credit creation of this entity of sorts, and then they go on to borrow against it and lend it out, or just participate in a fiat world with it, to with the end game, or the end goal being to accumulate more and more Bitcoin. Like, that's what everybody should be doing. But I think there's still definitely missing pieces and protocol to it. Like, people want stablecoin on Bitcoin, people want Aave on Bitcoin, people, um I think those are key requirements still, that need to be achieved before we can really hit that world. But the proof of concepts start now. And I was looking to also my, um, Bitcoin Startup Lab comrades and cohort participants, right? Like, particularly Saturans, VoltFi, or Tori, and, insurance on Bitcoin, volatility trading on Bitcoin, um, and participation in, like, Bitcoin and Web3 business equity and tokens. And I think they're on this path and narrative with us of, like, Bitcoin business, endgame Bitcoin business. And I'll probably be talking more about this, but endgame Bitcoin business is, I think, the goal. And with Grinvolt, we have our ability to lock up Bitcoin and utilize that as a way to leverage dollars to use in business and return more Bitcoin. Or, better than return more Bitcoin, give access to discount Bitcoin. And I'm actually curious to see how this will play out for Liquidium, whether they are, um, actually, like, doing Bitcoin issuance, as in, like, that's the yield that they're offering. Because I think better than Bitcoin issuance is actually just buying back and burning the Liquidium tokens. I think that accrues value in a more true sense or fashion than giving Bitcoin emissions and yield. But yeah, I think we should all be thinking differently and thinking around this new narrative of Bitcoin.